What got you to the startup will rarely get you into mid-market. The strategies are different, and pure hustle will not carry you as it did in the early stages. Hustle is great. I use it. But don't let it fool you that it's the only thing that you need. You have to invest in a strong team to allow you to focus on the bigger picture. For example, our client Karima did this really, really well. After their early stages of their startup and as they moved into mid-market, they brought on an A team to assist two great founders with David and Fernando.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
This episode is brought to you by TDO, the highest rated live chat software on Shopify. Now, TDO helps Shopify merchants to gain and retain more customers with personalized shopping experiences. Now, with TDO, you can recommend products and offer discounts based on the user's behavior and their order history without leaving the chat widget. Now, TDO also takes the pressure off your support team, and the app really enables you to manage all of your communication channels from one dashboard. And literally, it can automate up to 47% of your recurring questions. So it's pretty amazing with a great time saver. You can increase your customer satisfaction and sales with personalized shopping experiences. You can learn more by visiting tdo.com/fastlane. That's TIDIO.com/fastlane. And there you can start a TDO Premium Edition with an exclusive discount for e-commerce Fastlane listeners only. So make sure you punch in the special code Fastlane when you check out. Welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. I'm Steve Hutt, your trusted guide through all of the fast-paced world of e-commerce. Now, in the vast podcast universe, really, and it's a big one, there's a lot of podcasts that cater to e-commerce and direct-to-consumer, and I'm truly grateful that you've chosen to spend your time with myself and my guest today. And we drop new episodes. They come out twice weekly across all of your favorite platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon Music. We're also now streaming on YouTube, so that's pretty cool. But for a deep dive, make sure you hop on over to ecommercefastlane.com, and there you'll be able to access all the valuable links and all the resources that we're going to mention on today's episode. Now, today I'm thrilled to introduce a visionary in the direct-to-consumer space. His name is Nirav Sheth, and he's the CEO and founder of a company called Anatta, and they're ANATTA.io, Anatta.io. And what they don't just service brands, but they really try to help and elevate them. And they're a strategic backbone for some of the largest direct-to-consumer stories, like think Athletic Greens, Dollar Shave Club, which is on their website right now, True Botanicals, Brunt Workwear. It's just a few. There's so many amazing Shopify success stories and Shopify Plus brands that are just massively crushing it, all thanks to Anatta. Now, what sets them apart, you will ask? Well, they're not just another agency partner. They really are a true partner in I'd say in the truest sense. Forget these billable hours and siloed work and fractional staffing models. Really, their model really is about dedication, just I call it unwavering focus, but really they hone in on genuine growth. So let's dive in. Let's learn more about some of the magic behind Anatta's game-changing approach to direct-to-consumer. So hi, Nirav. Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
Thanks for having me, Steve. I'm excited to be here.
Now, I mentioned it a bit at the top of the show, but can you briefly describe what Anatta does and how it's assisting both current and new Shopify brands?
Steve, I like to describe Anatta as an anti-agency. What do I mean by that? Instead of traditional hourly work, where the goal is to rake up as many hours as possible, instead of providing fractional staffing, where you only get 1/5 of somebody's attention, and instead of siloed agency work, where the magic sauce is somehow found behind some curtains, Anatta serves as a true partner by providing dedicated, retainer-based, 100% transparent relationships. We serve as a genuine extension of your team. Anatta empowers you to achieve previously out-of-reach milestones and win. This means contributing dedicated, accomplished staff, strategic industry guidance, and tech stack expertise vital to your brand's next chapter. And that's how we work with Shopify brands.
It always fascinates me about origin stories. So can you talk a little bit about how all the pieces came together for both you and the founding team? And like, where did the desire and the design and marketing expertise, where did all this come from that allowed you to start focusing on direct-to-consumer brands?
Steve, the origin of Anatta actually starts in my childhood bedroom in my parents' house. And the desire came from wanting to get a real full-time job. And so I had a bet with my immigrant parents that either I was going to go get a job because I just completed a full 4-year degree, or I could be able to make $60,000 in 6 months. And that was the bet that I had with my parents. Luckily, I was able to hit that goal and Anatta was born. And in order to answer a question around how all these pieces came together in the founding team, we started to form the team one by one. I bootstrapped the company. And so that meant that I had to make enough money to be able to hire an employee and keep using that investment to continue its growth. Today, we're at over 100 people and we have an amazing core leadership team from a few different agencies, actually. So what we've done is compiled a really great leadership team who's been in the e-commerce space for over 15 years, who've all spent quality times being in spaces like Magento and WooCommerce and now Shopify. And we've been, specifically Anatta's been in the Shopify space for close to right around 8 years. So we started in 2014, so slightly over 8 years. And, our desire and focus on D2C really came up in 2014 when we started to see this really big growth happening from paid social. That's when we started seeing brands really take the time and investment to use paid social as a way to scale brands. And we became an expert because we started working with brands like Rothy's in the very early days. And then we started working with brands like Four Sigmatic and Athletic Greens. And then we started picking up brands like Dollar Shave Club. And that's where we really honed in our skill for how to not only design and develop around that, but to really understand the markets and what works well, what doesn't, and how to really see some growth coming from both acquisition as well as how to retain that on the side of retention and lifetime value.
Now, in your experience with working with various brands in the Shopify world, can you shed some light a bit about some of the more effective strategies for companies they can use today to increase revenue? Or perhaps you can even maybe share some examples of what works, what doesn't work, how businesses can truly stand out in their respective markets?
This is a great question, Steve. And companies can really do the work to increase their revenue by focusing on 4 key points that I always like to share with brands. Number 1, focus on optimization, which means start with usability, best practices, things like benchmarking, and then move into user journeys. For example, several of our mid-market D2C brands saw conversion rates go up 6% and higher by doing this. What do I mean specifically? Find the leaky funnels in your existing customer journey and make sure you plug them from a usability perspective so that you are converting the already converted. Then move into what I deem as best practices. Look for the opportunities. There are a number of studies from groups like Baymard organization as well as NNG that offer a set of really great heuristics and things to follow to ensure that you have the best conversion possible. And then move into user journeys. Look through where your highest levels of traffic are and focus on those journeys to see where the drop-offs could be occurring. There's enough data tracking tools out there that if you take the time and opportunity to go through the most traffic journeys and spend time to understand why are people dropping off or where they could be dropping off, you can be able to optimize for that and really be able to increase revenue by just focusing on the first item, optimization. Second, after optimization, I would spend time on position. If you're not in the top 5 of your specific niche and people cannot recognize your name, I would find a way to pivot and find your home. For example, our client Athletic Greens, which is now known as AG1, is synonymous now with green powder and the all-in-one supplement. A second, our client True Botanicals comes up every time you think of the word clean beauty. You have to find the opportunity of how to position yourself and where you live. If you don't stay in the top 5, people really don't remember you, and you have to do the work to ensure that you're positioned in the space that you are best for. And maybe that might be a smaller niche in the beginning, but then you can expand outside of that. Third, Outside of optimization and positioning, I would focus on writing more. Are you actually telling a compelling story? For example, our client Brunt Workwear has grown faster than any other brand we've worked with as they've connected with their ideal customer. Their customers are blue-collar workers, and they've taken the opportunity to not only launch podcasts and not only being able to sponsor a NASCAR driver, but to be able to do way more in that space to really write, tell a story, and be a part of that community. And it's important to immerse yourself in that and to tell that story so that your customers know truly who you are and what you stand for. Fourth, and certainly not the least, I would focusing on adding new channels. So in order to increase revenue outside of optimization, positioning, writing more, I would look into what other channels can you add if you've already been able to scale existing channels, whether it's paid or email. So can you add additional channels like letters and brochures that you can go to? Can you focus on SEO? Can you focus on any form of influencer marketing? As you continue to grow, you have to continue to add channels and become truly omni-channel. For example, our client Stio has grown substantially, specifically with launching their seasonal catalog. That's very different from the D2C space that to be able to go back to an actual mail brochure, but those work and they work really well and it can be scaled. So find those opportunities to be able to grow and be able to scale from that. And that's how you can truly increase revenue. And that's what we've seen across some of our most notable brands as well as multi-million-dollar brands.
Now, in today's competitive business landscape, like how crucial is it for brands to have dedicated teams, kind of predictable roadmaps and kind of alignment with business goals, and their partners? Man, this might sound like a loaded question, but can you kind of provide some insights from Anatta's successful partnerships that really emphasize these sorts of principles?
I absolutely can, Steve. One of the challenges is working with fast-growing brands and brands that are doing a lot is to be able to actually be able to create predictable roadmaps that are beyond the next 30 days. What we see in creating and being able to develop a predictable roadmap is that number one, partial is just not good enough. And what I mean by partial is partial teams. You want a dedicated team that wakes up and goes to sleep thinking about how to improve your brand because they're on your team and it's part of your company culture. For example, Anatta puts only dedicated teams across all of our clients and has established relationships that last over 5 years with the majority of our clients. By being able to provide dedicated staffing, what we're able to do is think about the KPIs, go to sleep to them, wake up to them, and know that we're focused on the same goals that you are. And that's extremely important when being and working with a digital product team. Number two, predictability has to be a requirement. Gone are the startup days where everything was a hit or miss scenario. You want to know what has worked and what hasn't with a level of certainty. This means roadmaps. For example, Anatta's partnership with Mack Weldon, a very popular menswear brand, has a roadmap for the entire year and a very complete roadmap for the next 90 days. That doesn't mean that insertions can't come in, that impromptu marketing and various forms of things that might come out of the blue can be added. Of course they can. But you still want to have a roadmap that focuses on what are your core KPIs for this year? Is it acquisition focused? Is it retention focused? Is there a little mixture of both? But what are the goals that we want to go after and be able to either move up in terms of conversion rates or LTV or reduce maybe in form of expenses? Knowing that can allow us to really be able to create a very thoughtful roadmap and contribute to it as well. Last and not least is with predictable roadmaps, we get motivated by the same goals as you. When your business model differs from the business model of your partner, you're reaching for two different things. What I mean by that is many agencies out there, their business models focus on hours. How many hours can we put in? But if your business as a merchant and as an e-commerce owner and store is focused on being able to increase revenue and be able to do things efficiently, those two things don't map together. And the reason why is that the person who is going for hours is going to try to find not the efficient way of doing something, but the most cool way of doing something that breaks up as many hours as possible. So what you're looking for really is alignment. And in our case, Anatta's partnership with Rothy's, which lasted over 7 years. Yes, I said 7 years from the start of their relationship all the way till when they were acquired or had the investment of over 51% of their business was acquired. That is how long a really strong relationship can last. And that's because we're all alignment with the same goals. The goal for Rothy's was increasing revenue, being able to really have a strong retention number, and to be able to do things nimbly and thoughtfully. And we were able to do that as they scaled to over $220 million in 2019 and above that as they went forward.
Now, in the world of e-commerce and kind of website optimization, can you elaborate a bit on the importance of strategy and having a clear point of view? Like specifically, like what areas should companies prioritize and like what traditional approaches might they reconsider based on your experiences and your findings with some incredible brands that you work with?
Thanks, Steve, for asking for our point of view and what strategies we deploy that really help multi-million-dollar brands grow and succeed. One of the things that we have a very strong point of view on, and I'm a little bit more animated when it comes to this, is stop working on traditional CRO. It's a mess and it really doesn't move the needle in a meaningful way. The average win rate is so low and the benefits of that win don't often wipe away the losses and costs of running a CRO program. If you're running a traditional CRO program, you really have to take a double take on it and see if it's worth it. And my guess is that it's not. The second is start working on best practices, usability, and user experiences. It's the easiest starting point to plug a lot of holes and to fix a lot of leaky buckets. For example, Anatta has found on average a 23% lift in conversion rates by just doing a best practices implementation. That means specifically fixing leaky buckets and leaky funnels that are there for, especially for the consumers who are already ready to buy or who have been convinced to buy, but they get stopped because of usability and best practice related issues. And the third point, and it's a really strong point of view on this as well, is stop hacking at your site theme and invest in strong architecture. Everyone complains about speed, and the biggest way to get fastest load time is having the right foundation. It's not by hacking at it, and it's not by adding more plugins or more apps. It's specifically around re-architecting your actual site theme and making sure it's built on the right foundation. On average, Anatta's clients' e-commerce sites load at the industry leading speeds, which are around 1 to 2 seconds. And you can get that with Shopify Plus, and you do not need to be headless. You just have to build the right foundation.
Today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at TDO. It's TIDIO.com, and they're the highest rated live chat software on Shopify. Literally, you can increase your customer satisfaction and sales with personalized shopping experiences. You can learn a lot more by heading on over to TDO.com/Fastlane, and you can start right away with a premium version. It's exclusively available on a special discount for e-commerce Fastlane listeners. You can check them out there, TDO.com/Fastlane, and use the promo code Fastlane. Now, from your experience, assisting the growth of many, many multi-million-dollar success stories, can you share some of the key learnings, maybe even some of the strategies that have proven pivotal for these startups to transition, I'd say, I'm going to call it early stage, but, from the mid-market and then working their way up? How certain approaches and focuses really have resulted kind of in these exponential growth that's very clearly has happened for these brands?
If you're a startup transitioning to mid-market, there's 3 things that I would really focus energies on. Number 1, the founders. What got you to the startup will rarely get you into mid-market. The strategies are different, and pure hustle will not carry you as it did in the early stages. Hustle is great. I use it. But don't let it fool you that it's the only thing that you need. You have to invest in a strong team to allow you to focus on the bigger picture. For example, our client Cariuma did this really, really well. After their early stages of their startup and as they moved into mid-market, they brought on an A team to assist 2 great founders with David and Fernando. And that can be both internal teams as well as external partners like Anatta, who act and behave as an internal team. Number 2, lean in on a channel. The fastest growing brands do not diversify their channels until they can get 1 to 2 channels really moving. For example, a large footwear brand that got over $100 million revenue did it with both paid and email primarily. If you go and look at their statistics, you'll see that paid and email brought in close to 95% of their revenue. Email itself was more than 30% of the revenue stream. So if you can optimize around a single channel and make it scale, that's really how you can grow and be able to keep focus. Diversifying too early means you're not finding the scalability that you want for exponential growth. And I'm talking about being able to say, hey, if I put $1 million into this, can I have a predictable output? If I put $10 million into this, can I have a predictable output? If you can't be able to scale in that way, you haven't really found a true channel to lean in on, and I will continue to do the work because they're out there. And 3, retention is extremely valuable, not just for the additional revenue, but how it helps you reframe your positioning. When you invest in your customers, you build loyalty, yes, but you also build a listening channel that unlocks gems in your copy and positioning to new prospects. You will never find this information through agencies and outside marketing. Your diamonds are in your customers if you're willing to dig deep.
Now, Anatta really has clearly made some significant strides in kind of helping businesses, like particularly these Shopify powered brands, by optimizing their operations and helping drive more revenue and LTV. So can you walk us through a brand's journey, kind of detailing maybe some of the challenges they had and then some of the turning points that led them to want to collaborate with Anatta?
Common story that we hear, Steve, is brands get really fed up with the agencies that they're working with. They are not listening to them anymore. They're not providing any strategic guidance, and they become task takers in a way that some things take really, really long to produce, and that they're not truly there to be as a partner. When that happens, and when you get tired of both the freelancing working relationships where the reliability is really, really tough, even though sometimes the pricing can be cheap, and then you move to an agency thinking, hey, I'm going to get access to a lot more staff, or access to a lot more thought leadership, but you don't get really any attention because you have to yell to get the attention you deserve. That's when brands have turned to Anatta. With Anatta's business model, we've been able to be truly partners to the brands that we work with. When it comes to not having to manage hours, we took a different approach. Instead of saying billable hours, we said, what's the KPI that you want to go after? What is your business goal? Because if we can help you strategize on that, give you a point of view, give you insights and analytics to brands that we've worked with in our portfolio and what they've done, you get access to a trove of information and strategies that you did not have access to before. But 2, because they're dedicated and they're not fractionated, we truly care. We take the time to listen. We take the opportunity to be able to have conversations and provide strategy, but we also implement those in the best way possible and in the most efficient way possible. Because racking up hours or racking up more and more backlog doesn't do anybody good. It's all the focus on the KPIs, because if your business grows, we grow as well. And as a result, the brands that have found these big challenges, whether it's with growth and not being able to go past their ceiling, or that they're growing really well, but they don't have a true partner to help them guide them in their success, so they keep getting stuck, is when brands have really turned to Anatta, because they see that opportunity and saying, hey, we really want a true partner, someone who gets it, someone who's willing to be in the trenches with us, and someone who works hard and thinks about us day and night, just like we do about our own brands.
Nirav, as we wrap up our discussion for today, can you share some advice or some key considerations for our listeners who might be seeking kind of some external assistance or some collaboration for their Shopify store?
Absolutely. If you're seeking assistance or collaboration with your Shopify store, look for a true partner who understands the Shopify Plus and Shopify environments. Someone who's been there, who's actually done it, and who has a track record to be able to have a strong partnership mentality. What you're looking for is someone who can own and really be able to guide you in your digital roadmap as well as tech stack. Someone who doesn't create things simply to rack up billable hours or to be able to create just the next new tech, but is in it in the same way that you're in it, to grow top line revenue, to keep expenses low, to be able to focus on KPIs like conversion rates and LTV and average order value, and who looks at your customers and customer journeys and says, hey, what can we do to improve that? Look for the people who truly care, who know that world, and who are excited to want to do that with you because they believe in your brand.
Now, before we conclude for today, can you let our listeners know how they can learn more about Anatta, your solutions? And also, I believe that you have a very special offer for e-commerce Fastlane listeners today. Can you share more details about that offer?
Thanks, Steve, for giving us the opportunity to share. If you want to learn more about Anatta and what we do and how to partner with us, you can find us at Anatta, ANATTA.io. You can also find us on the Shopify partner list. You can search for the word Anatta on the Shopify partner listing. We also post regularly on our company blog at anatta.io and on our LinkedIn page if you search for the word Anatta. We would love to be able to offer listeners on e-commerce Fastlane specifically a free 30-minute consult with us. With our strategic advisors, when you speak with us, you're speaking to people who have 10 plus years of experience, and we would love to hop on the phone with you. So give us a call or give us a message, and we'll be happy to speak with you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and shedding some light on Anatta's pivotal role in the e-commerce landscape. As you know, Shopify's mission is to make commerce better for everyone. And it's abundantly clear, like from this discussion today, that you really aren't just aligned with that mission, but I believe you're actively pushing the envelope, like almost helping Shopify brands to improve efficiencies and grow revenue and really cultivate lasting customer loyalty. And we're grateful that you're able to share today and the commitment to this innovation and just your whole dedication to wanting to give back to the Shopify ecosystem. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. And to our listeners, once again, until next time, remember to keep harnessing the power of partnerships, as it will definitely elevate your brand and help you achieve your business outcomes.
Thanks, Steve, for having me on the show. I had a lot of fun and I appreciate you.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of e-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.